Shali Shaw.
Here.
Jody Shannon.
Here.
Four present.
I would like to invite Cub Scout Pack 156 to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Just for the students, I'll let you do their thing.
Color guard, please protect the colors. I mean, please want to color guard report. Color guard, please close the cover. The audience, please join me in pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color guard dismissed.
Very nice job.
If the Cub Scouts are allowed to have cookies, there are cookies back there. So please, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Members of the audience are encouraged to make comments and ask questions of the board consistent with board policy 2:230. Please identify yourself and limit your presentation to 3 minutes. And no one has signed in to do a presentation, so we are to do a public participation. So we will move on to old business.
Before we move on to old business, we do have a large number of students tonight that we want to talk about. And for that, I'll introduce Mr. Jeff Krylan, our district band director.
All right, so I just want to say a quick thank you to the administration and the Board of Education for allowing me to speak this evening on behalf of the Prairie Band Program and the students that are here this evening representing our program as well. I could probably go on for hours about the group and about the kids, and I'm going to try to keep this to about 5 minutes as best as I can. This is mainly to recognize the achievements of individual accolades as well as our ensemble accolades throughout the academic year this year for honor bands that students have auditioned for and been accepted to our district and our state contest that we participated in as well. So there's going to be a little bit of listing, but I'll also recognize some of the individuals as well. So if I do mention your name, if you're here, if you wouldn't mind standing up so you can be recognized by the board and the administration as well. The first thing for individual accolades this year that students were able to be recognized for were the Illinois Music Education Association District 7 honor bands. There was an honors concert band as well as an honors jazz band. And District 7 encompasses all of McHenry, Lake, and Northern Cook counties. So they're very competitive auditions that are done via video recording. And we had several students that were accepted into these groups, which included Tegan Boros on tuba. Miranda on trombone. Because he's running very well. Stephen Randall's on trumpet and jazz trumpet. And then Mary Beth Redcamp on jazz. And then in January, there were very, very rigorous, not in January, in November, there were really rigorous blind auditions that were done, just audio recording for students to be able to audition for an all-state group known as the All Illinois Junior Band. And we were fortunate to have 9 different students selected to the ensemble, which is a very high number because they only took 79 in the entire state. That was the second most of any school that was participating. Most schools had 1 or 2, and there were several schools that had kids audition that didn't have any selected. So if you hold your applause to the end of the names being listed, I'm going to list the student's name, their instrument, and where they place within their section for the All Illinois Junior Band. So we had Nate Bennett on trumpet, 6th chair out of 12. Cody Bouchard on French horn, 3rd chair out of 6. Katie Flick on bass clarinet, 1st chair out of 3. Jacob Dillon in percussion, 1st chair out of 7. Peyton LaPlante, 1st chair out of 12 in trumpet. Jose Miranda, trombone, 4th out of 8. Stephen Randall's trumpet, 2nd out out of 12, Mary Beth Reckham, euphonium, 2nd out of 4, and Aaron Samuelson, clarinet, 6th out of 15. And then in February, there was an event that I was very fortunate to have one of our students be able to participate in one of the groups that I play in called the North Shore Concert Band. And we have a music education initiative every year in which students from the Chicagoland and Chicagoland suburban area are able to be nominated and potentially selected to perform alongside the members of the North Shore Concert Band on our February performance. And this year, we had our wonderful oboist, Alana Pope, was one of 2 oboes selected to be able to perform.
Wonderful.
So those are most of the individual accolades throughout the year. That usually takes place during that first half-ish of the school year. And then when we get into February and beyond, we start moving into more of our ensemble contests. So the first one that we had was in February. It was for Jazz 1 participating in Jazz in the Meadows. They received straight Division I superior ratings amongst very challenging competition, some of the other best middle school jazz bands in the state. And there were 2 students that did receive individual musicianship recognitions from our individual performance, and that was Mary Beth Reckamp on trombone and Keegan Boros on bass. And then in March, there was another jazz invitational that we attended. This was the Mundelein Jazz Invitational, in which we once again, there's a theme here. I got straight Division I superior ratings from all 3 of the adjudicators. We were blessed, I suppose, to have an audience standing outside in the foyer area outside of our performance room, and they were all like, "Oh, who's that group playing?" It's like, "Oh, that's a middle school band." They were like really impressed with that, and it was nice to hear from the host. He was like, "Yeah, there's a big crowd outside of the room listening to you guys while you're performing," and they were just really impressed with how the group sounded. And there were 2 individuals that received recognition just for that individual performance. I don't believe either of them are here today. Stephen Randall's on lead trumpet and Milan Goldenberg on lead alto saxophone got some individual recognition. And then the entire brass section took home the best middle school section of the day. So all of the trombones and trumpets. So if any of you guys are here, I want you to.
All right.
I like to think of it as they couldn't decide because there were 2 of them, so you can use it. They gave 2 of the best section awards for middle school that day, and I like to hold on to the idea that they didn't want to give both of them to the same school, so they lumped our trumpets and trombones into one group, so another school could get some recognition. So yeah, so the whole brass. So that was nice. And then leading into March as well, we had our Illinois Gradesville Music Association District 9 district level contest, and that was for both advanced band and jazz 1, which all of our students that are here this evening, except for little Rachel over there, are members of that group. You'll be up there one day. And so both advanced band and jazz 1 at the district level contest received straight Division I superior ratings from the judges, and the adjudicators were very impressed with both of the groups for the maturity of their musicianship and being able to play very challenging literature at a very high level, especially being 6th, 7th, and 8th graders playing literature that generally is reserved for 9th grade through 12th grade. So they did really well in that, and that allowed them to be invited to the state level competitions, which we did recently as well, in which both groups also received straight Division I superior ratings from all 3 judges. Again, receiving compliments on the high level of musicianship as well as the emotional quality of what they're able to put on the stage, which is, to me, one of the most important things about performance is that even though they're middle school musicians who've only been playing for a few years, they're able to put out a product that is something that the audience can feel some emotion from, not just like, "Oh, yay, I'm the parent, I'm clapping because it's my child, yay." Like, they're actually able to play for people who don't know them, have never seen them perform before, and make them experience some real emotions. And I think that that is ultimately the crux of what we do as musicians, to put something beautiful out in the world. And I think that they do a really remarkable job of that day in and day out. Advanced Band also played at just a Commons Only festival called the Prairie State Middle School Concert Band Festival. And one of the judges for that one had recognized the band as being at the same level of quality as several groups that annually go to something called the Illinois Super State Festival, which isn't something that we've been invited to before, but basically it's an extremely competitive blind audition process where they take the top 8 middle school bands in the entire state of Illinois and for an adjudicator to encourage us to apply for that and tell us that we're playing at that same level is very, very complimentary of them. And then one other comment that we got for the Jazz State Festival, they received high honors as well, which means that they had 2 of the 3 judges give them perfect scores. One of the judges referred to the band as the best middle school jazz band I've heard in a long time.
Wow.
There's so much more I could really say about these students, and just writing this out and seeing all the things I'm writing, like I sometimes get flustered with certain things in rehearsal. Today was one of those days, unfortunately for us. You look on their face, you're like, "We're very happy." But just seeing all the things that they are capable of doing, and going to all the festivals and hearing the comments that people who don't hear us play regularly, I couldn't be more proud of them. Like, it makes me so happy to be able to work with such wonderful children and musicians and burgeoning young adults. And, I think I do a good job, but I wouldn't be able to do my job if it weren't for students that really cared a lot and wanted to put their best effort forward. So thank you for allowing me to present this evening, and I hope you have a good rest of your meeting.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes. Are there any performances you would like
Oh,
to,
yes, we have,
plug out there for?
Yeah. So here's a plug if you want to hear us. Next week, these kids are playing on Wednesday, May 17th. That's it. That is our final concert of the year. We'll also be presenting some 8th grade awards. I can't say who's getting them. Obviously, that will be revealed on that performance evening. And I forgot to mention this. I have some perpetual plaques that were made for all of the individual recognitions for ILMEA, for AIJB, and Lifetime of Music. There are perpetual plaques that I have on order that will be hung up next to our ensemble award plaques to be able to commemorate and honor these students on their individual achievements, even beyond their years here at Prairie Grove.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Thank you
Thank you.
kindly.
First of all, you guys, when you operate and play at this level, I think you make the whole school proud. Not a lot of people know what Prairie Grove, when you guys are going out there and playing as well as you guys do in all these areas, you're doing the school proud. I think everybody's proud of you guys, so thank you for that. And Mr. Krylan, this is my last board meeting, so I can talk a lot.
Oh, okay.
I think the school's incredibly lucky to have you. I'm in awe of your dedication to the program and your passion. I just hope you can keep it up for the next 20 years.
I think I have to go till I'm 67. I'm not that old yet.
Okay. But we're extremely lucky to have you. So thank you as well.
Agreed. Yep. Thank you. Can they have a cookie on their way out?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you again.
Thanks, boys and girls,
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Good job.
Thank you. Good job, you guys. Still can't believe you're. No,
You'll be fine.
sure.
Hurry. They have business.
Welcome to stay.
Hey, you don't get out of here too soon.
Okay, so like next Wednesday.
We're gonna drag this out now. Old business. May I have a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of board policy plus 111 additions, deletions, and changes? Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? May I have a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of a new job description? Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving to new business. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the regular and executive session minutes from April 11th, 2023 meeting? Second. Discussion? Seeing Seeing none, roll call vote please.
Stephanie Hausch.
Yes.
Brian Noonan. Steve Sebastian.
Yes.
Josie Shattuck.
Yes.
Gwen Violet.
Yes.
David Costa.
Yes.
Michelle Shaw.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. May I have a motion to incorporate the names of the official winners of the April 4th, 2023 election into the official minutes of the Board of Education? Gwen Violet, Stephanie House, Jennifer Rugalit, Kushali Shah, and Josie Shattuck.
So move second.
Discussion,
I catch up to do. I missed that whole first half.
roll call vote please.
Brian Noonan.
Yes.
Steve Sebastian.
Yes.
Josie Shattuck.
Yes.
Gwen Violet.
Yes.
David Costa.
Yes.
Stephanie Hausch.
Yes.
Michelle Shaw.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, before I do this adjournment, we're gonna have a board of, recognition of board members.
Yes, so as Mr. Noonan has been so gracious to bless us with his presence the last 4 months. After Mr. Butler resigned and relocated out of state, we did invite Barkley to come back tonight. We did a plaque for him, which we'll get to him, which I know you already have your plaque from your previous service. Barkley served 8 years on the Board of Education before stepping down in January. We greatly appreciate his service to the school board, to the students and staff of the Prairie District 46. We will miss Barkley. We wish him the best as he goes on to other things. And Mr. Noonan, obviously, we enjoy seeing you at our meetings as well. We wish you the best moving forward as well. We'll be looking at Barkley in the very near future and his plaque to him and invite him back to the meeting at the time.
Thank you for your service, Ryan.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ryan.
Frank. It's been a delight. You guys are, the board is in good hands, so it's been a pleasure working with you guys.
Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn sign die at 7:18 PM? Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now, so that means, Mr. Noonan, you can take your time, I guess.
Goodbye, Mr. Noonan.
Thank you.
You got your sign.
Good luck with these people.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stick around and watch.
Yeah,
you read
don't
that one
lose
page.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Keep
Don't
that
get
in-
that, yes, see, say,
keep
hold
that
on to
in
that
you.
one.
I'm just saying.
See, you can say.
Can't see if it works or something.
No. Put it on your fridge. They can post.
Okay. Oh, yeah, this is for Jennifer. We'll take it for that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a lot going on here. So, okay. So I will now administer the oath of office to newly elected members of the Board of Education.
So that would be everybody that was recently elected has to
Participate.
participate.
Is this the same thing from here to here?
So you get one of two ways. You can force everyone to read in unison, or you can read it and they can say, I do.
Oh.
I do. Yeah, I don't need to be the only voice there.
Your call.
Gotta know what you're listening and signing up for, so let's do it all together. Okay. Please say your name, Kushali Shah. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Prairie Grove, Consolidated School District 46, in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability. I further swear that I shall respect taxpayers' interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek to hear before the board, while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member who has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. And I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility of my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in this district. I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Prairie Grove Consolidated School District 46. I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community school or schools to advance the vision for Prairie Grove Consolidated School District 46. And I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district towards fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. I think that's it.
Congratulations.
Oh.
So Illinois law requires each school board to hold an organizational meeting following the consolidated election held in odd numbered years. This is the Prairie Grove Consolidated School District number 46 organizational meeting. The first order of business for this board is to appoint a president pro tempore. President pro tempore may be a board member or an executive administrator of the school district, and that person will be in charge of the meeting until the board elects the president. Once the president is elected, the president will preside over the remainder of the organizational meeting and all future board meetings. This appointment does not need a second, and you are allowed to self-nominate. Board members, at this time, please appoint a president pro tempore. How do we do this in closed?
No.
Can't be that close.
This is just to govern the rest of this.
Are you nominating yourself, Gwen?
No, I'd like to nominate Kashali Shaw,
And second that.
Mrs. Kashali Shaw.
All right. So Shaw, you're the president pro tempore.
So you have to do roll call then? Oh, I have to call the names.
Call to order now.
Call it order again?
Make the organizational meeting. Look under the sheet.
I would like to call the April 11, 2023 regular and organizational Board of Education meeting to order at 7:24 p.m.
Second.
We don't need. Okay, roll call.
Gwen Violet,
Yes.
David Costa,
Yes.
Stephanie Hausch,
Yes.
Jennifer Regalick,
Yes.
Steve Sebastian, Shelley Shaw,
Yes.
Josie Shattuck,
Yes.
quorum present.
The next order of business before the board is to elect a president. The board elects a president for a 2-year term. Anyone may make a nomination, including self-nominations. Nominations do not require a second. The election of a board officer requires a simple majority of those voting. This entire process must occur during an open meeting, and voting cannot be completed by secret ballot. Nominations are now open for the office of president. Are there any, is there any nominations?
I nominate Mrs. Control.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, nominations are now closed for the office of president. Kushali Shah being the only person nominated for the office of president, I hereby declare her elected by acclamation and direct the recording secretary records such in the minutes. The next order of business before the board is to elect a vice president. The board elects a vice president for a 2-year term. Anyone may make a nomination, including self-nominations. Nominations do not require a second. The election of a board officer requires a simple majority of those voting. This entire process must occur in an open meeting, and voting cannot be completed by secret ballot. Nominations are now open for the office of vice president.
Nominate Steve Sebastian.
I'd like to nominate Stephanie Hausch. Are there any other nominations for vice president? Oh, there's a whole entire script for that part. Nominations are now closed for the office of vice president. Okay, so you're gonna do it by a show of hand, and I will say all in favor of Steve Sebastian, because you were the first, for the office of vice president, raise your hand. Usually.
Oh, I thought we all did.
No, I know. We
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, nobody said it.
It's okay.
Joe, what's your count, Joe? You're the recording secretary. One. Okay.
Sorry.
Huh?
We were all.
All in favor of Stephanie Hellish for the office of vice president, raise your hand. He's pushing my hand. Dave is
No.
like.
Six.
Sorry, Dave, you gotta keep it real for you. Sorry, I guess it's, what is it? So
6 to 1.
6 to 1. Stephanie Hellish, congratulations, you are the vice president for the next 2 years.
Congratulations.
So I can, yeah, we can do whatever we do, it's the same thing. The next order of business before the board is to elect a secretary. This board elects a secretary for a 2-year term. The secretary may be, but is not required to be, a board member. Anyone can make a nomination, including self-nominations. Nominations do not require a second. The election of the board officer requires a simple majority of those voting. This entire process must occur in an open meeting, and voting cannot be completed by secret ballot. Nominations are now open for the office of secretary.
I nominate Joe Mancourt.
Are there any other nominations for secretary? Seeing none. Joan McAvoy being the only candidate nominated for office of secretary, I hereby declare her elected by the acclamation and direct that the recording secretary record such in the minutes. Self-report. Okay. May I have a motion to consider adopting the annual schedule of regular meeting dates, times, and locations?
I think we do, that's fine.
Oh, the black?
Yep.
The black.
That's fine.
Current practice has been the second Tuesday of each month with executive session typically at 6 p.m. when needed, and regular open session at 7 p.m. in the District Learning Center. The board as a body needs to determine if the day of the month, time, and location are still appropriate for 2023 to 2024 and 24 to 25. Please note the location of regular meetings has been adjusted during the last few years based on the availability of the DLC. It is my understanding that the DLC will be used as a classroom during the 2023-2024 school year. As such, we will be moving to a normal location to either the NPR or the junior high gym. So, we are looking to recommend moving also the regular monthly meeting from the date of the second Tuesday to the third week of the month, either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And the reason being is, Dr. Butte?
So the second Tuesday, when it occurs early in the month, like it does this month, it's either the first Monday is either Monday or Tuesday, that puts the meeting on the 8th and 9th. This oftentimes gives us about 24 hours to finish up the business office standpoint, finish up the bookwork from getting last month's paperwork, all the money calculated, get it to the treasurer, get it back, put the board back out in time for you to get it on Friday. It's very tight. We push a lot of people to make sure that happens on a regular basis. It's very tight. So to avoid that, we would like to recommend moving it to the third week of the month. Never want to have it on, I don't really like Mondays because those are always the holidays. We're going to have the holidays generally a Monday or a Friday. Nobody likes Friday anyway. So the first recommendation is to move Tuesday to Tuesday. Go from the second Tuesday to the third Tuesday, but we're open for the third Wednesday, and Thursday. And I gave you the calendar of what this would look like for the next 2 years from now until the next election in May of 25.
discussion?
Yeah, open discussion.
I mean, I'm fine with the third Tuesday. I like having it earlier in the week, and I
I do too.
understand the moving it to the second to the third.
I'm fine with that too.
Tuesday's good day, third Tuesday's good with me too. I mean, I know it's been years that we've been second, but I like the third, and especially I've always seen when we've gone first into areas of this part.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
We typically get late on Friday when we send word book out when it's this early in the month on a meeting. So that's because we're trying to push to make sure everything gets done and I's dotted and T's crossed and all the bills in before it's processed.
Would we be able to get our board book maybe 2 days earlier because we're moving it, or will it still be late Friday? Maybe a date earlier.
I'll have to discuss that with the secretary.
Okay.
But I could probably push that out a day earlier if we have an extra week to work on that.
Are we opposed to a Wednesday?
I usually have something.
I will say Tuesdays work better in this kind of club. Yeah. Just because that's what I'm all like, have been used to. It's just
Wednesdays.
Would be my first choice.
is it easier for work for you?
We have, and really it's my choice a year, we have graduation on Tuesdays. Historically, the time that they end fluctuates. Fortunately tonight it worked out that I was able to make it by 7, but if there's an executive session, I wouldn't be able to make it. Again, it's only two
That was
months out of the year.
Question about the executive sessions. Is that like, I can't remember, is that like a set thing where the executive session has to be at 6? It can always be at the end too,
It
right?
can always be at the end, it's at the end tonight.
Yeah.
We do like to put them at 6 because that gives you a definitive stop time
Yeah, I grasped
of
that, but
like 5 minutes to 7, so you can prep for the 7 o'clock.
I'm just wondering too if that kind of is a,
Yeah, if that's an
Issue too.
issue,
If
we
know
can
about
always
those in
consider,
advance, of
Yeah.
course,
yeah, we can change it.
that was the only thing I was gonna
It's
ask,
close.
that's what I was gonna ask about too, was that, like, I think having a 6 o'clock, like, I understand why we do it, but I think that's probably hard, I would think, for people that have to work to get here by 6, you know, and then, yeah, so,
I get that.
Yeah, holding them.
if that helps,
It
if that
does,
helps.
It does.
So.
The ceremonies typically start at 5:30 in Woodstock, and I
No, totally understand.
7. So.
Yeah,
So
so
that,
if we
yeah,
can communicate those dates to Dr. Booth, then those days we can have the executive session.
May and
in the middle.
October.
Yeah. But yeah, if we can Tuesday, otherwise it's okay. I think people are used to us having a Tuesday, but we're just gonna set third Tuesday. Okay.
So that's your motion.
Yeah.
The third
So-
Tuesday.
Yeah, may I have a motion to approve a schedule of regular meeting dates, locations, and times, with the dates being what's in the board packet, but it's third Tuesday of the month. Location, either the NPR, the junior high, wherever you guys find, and time still being at 7 PM for the regular board meeting starting. And close possibly at 6 or at the end of the meeting. Motion.
So
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I just have a couple of notes I wanted to go over as we've seated a new board and just want to have refreshers. I know we read the whole entire thing, but so congratulations and welcome, Jennifer, to our board. Thank you for everybody for continued service, those who reran and everything, so for doing and all that, so thank you. But some refreshers, our school district is governed by our Board of Education. The board powers and duties include authority to adopt, enforce, and monitor all the policies for the management and governance of the district school. Our policies can be found on the school website, so that is publicly available. Any official action by the Board of Education may only occur at a duly called and legally conducted meeting, so the board doesn't meet outside of these public meetings. As stated in the board member oath, as board members have no legal authority as an individual, or kind of like we said. So that's according to our board policy 2.10. And when we come together, we work to make informed decisions for our school district, and we need to be cognizant of the Open Meetings Act, which, you know, we've taken our training on and should keep that in mind. The Board of Education welcome communication from staff members, parents, students, and community members. Individuals may submit questions or communication for the school board's consideration to the superintendent, or they can use the email link that's posted on the district's website that goes to the BOE. If we are contacted individually as board members, we will refer the person to the appropriate level of school administration or responsibility, remembering the chain of command. So if it's like a classroom issue, we refer them back to the teacher. If it's like a school building level issue, we refer them to the principal. And if it's a district level, we refer them to the superintendent. There's no exception of privacy for any of the communications sent to the board or its members. They can all be FOIA, whether sent by letter, email, or other means. Community members that email the board, school district, or district employees are expected to abide the standards in board policy 6:235, access to electronic networks, and should, to the extent possible, limit their email to relevant individuals, which are like policy 2.140 and 8.110. As time goes, we'll keep on learning and making sure that we follow good governance in order to work as an effective board. So there's just something to remember. So I'm sure over the next 2 years, we'll have another one of our IASB workshops, which takes me to my next topic. May I have a motion to appoint a delegate to the IASB conference?
So moved.
I need a second. Discussion. So Josie, you had participated before. If you would like to enlighten all of us about your experience, and then we can see if anybody was interested or you're
Yes,
interested.
the last 2 years, I have attended the ISB conference, participated in the delegate assembly, which is on Saturdays. The delegate assembly involves roughly 400 board members from around the state. Items are that are proposed for ISB to advocate for are proposed. Conversation, or rather, comments are provided, and voting occurs based on each board's preferred vote on that action. It's a very interesting experience that I have enjoyed, and I would volunteer gladly to do it again.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you,
so there's a conference, Jennifer, in November, weekend before Thanksgiving, and it's a great conference. We can all go to it. They sign us up, and it's downtown. And it's very informative, lots of good sessions and guest speakers and information. We found our architect from there, so that was kind of cool, right? And we learned a lot of things. So, all in favor of Josie taking on the role of delegate again, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Congratulations, delegate Josie. Okay,
I know.
what am I looking
Or you guys doing one of these?
Yes,
Yes, we were.
we were, sorry.
at? Okay, may I have a motion to approve, wait. Oh, darn, administrative reports. Hey, Dr. Bew. This is what.
She's in it. I saw the reports. Excuse me. Admin reports are included in the board packet tonight. Springtime of the year, we have only one administrator with us tonight. Thank you, Martha, for being here. With any questions on any of the admin reports that Martha can answer? Martha, anything you want to highlight?
No, thank you.
I was gonna say, I'm glad to see the, like the summer math programs and those programs back in, or still going and stuff like that. Yeah, and I was just gonna, I don't think you know the answer to this since it's a junior high thing, but the PLTW.
Yeah.
That, I was just kind of wondering a little bit more about that. I don't, like I said, again, I'm not sure if you know, but maybe Nicole, could ask, send me an email or something just to kind of inquire a little bit more about what that all entails and stuff like that. So.
I'll be happy to ask her to do that. I'm not familiar with
Yeah.
what the award is. We're brand new to using Project Lead the Way at the elementary. This is our first year. We haven't been recognized yet as a distinguished school. I anticipate we will. Having not done it yet, I really can't speak to it, Steph.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Martha, Fine Arts Night is coming up. What date?
18th of May,
Let's have that start.
5 p.m.
Yeah, and with that fine arts, awesome. I just want to show my appreciation for everybody with the fine arts, being a small school like we are,
Yeah.
that how much we're doing with plays and musicals and performances and band and all those great achievements. Small school, but mighty school we are. So, you know, and then again, thank you for doing this math and reading. Hopefully in the years to come, we'll have a more robust, not robust, but like more offerings for other students to take. I know years and years ago, we had summer school program, like anybody could come to. So,
Sure.
hopefully in the future we can look at that. So, thank you for anybody else?
I would just like to add Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. There's obviously only one teacher staff here, but I know there's a lot of activities this week and hopefully everybody's enjoying. The activities.
It has been so far a great week, and the PTO has been super generous as well. So we thank the PTO for their involvement this week. It's really a special week. We recognize our teachers all year long, but we try to do things a little bit more special this week. And we've had a whole week of fun things and treats and delicious lunches and breakfast. So thanks to the PTO and the board.
Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, Dr. Big, continuing on.
Sure. Just to highlight a few things from my report, we did receive impact fees again this year from the Woodmore growth. You can see over time, we budgeted $255,000, we received $349,000. As you remember, back in 2018-19, the city of Crystal Lake did reduce impact fees drastically. So that's brought that number, expected number way down, but it's higher than zero. So I'm not gonna say no to the money. It's better than nothing, but we do have right now 65 to 70 students that reside in the Woodmore area that come in here. Even though we are up 200 a couple years ago, that growth is not just from Woodmore. There's a lot of houses that come over inside Prairie. Massive growth we expected from Woodmore has not yet been to that number. The 60 is still a good number, 65.
So how many houses are they expecting to build over, like, I don't remember the next school year or the year after, like, where we could say, okay, this much percentage might be coming towards us.
I have to go back and look at the projections from back in 2017-18. I can tell you they're like in phase 3-ish, 3-4 of their build out. You drive through there any given day, there's 20 houses in various stages of construction. The vast majority of them that are being built now are Prairie 46. The 47 ones are pretty much already done. They're on the north side by the mountains. As they start to work their way back to the farthest northeast corner, that's all again Prairie 46. So there's still a ways to go.
And any news about the neighborhood that was gonna be built across from?
Nothing new.
Nothing.
I have not heard anything new.
We have had continued discussion with the village over resource officer. We're in the process of writing that agreement with them. I look to our attorney, but who's not listening to me right now. In the middle of writing that agreement with the village for our resource officer for next year. We've kind of had the parameters in place now, what that's going to look like and what our duration of that total cost is going to be. Essentially, we would have the officer for every day that we're here for the 180 days. We'd have a dedicated officer in a squad car on site in the building, in the parking lot, available for us for checking cameras, building security, making sure the students get in safely off the buses into the parking lot, making sure people are driving safely in the parking lot in front of our facilities, being visible in the hallways and the cafeterias, talking to students, building those relationships with board students. It's going to be about an 80, I want to say a little around an 80-20 split. When you think about a school year being 36 to 40 weeks and the full year 52, to be a full-time officer employed by the village, and we would pick up 80 to 82% of their salary and benefits because they would be our person for those days. They are looking specifically for somebody who has school resource officer background or willing to get that training. I know they haven't quite put the job description out yet, but they've been putting some feelers out. We do have a couple of leads they've been looking at. So we're hopeful that we'll have that ready to go when school starts in August. That is the goal. So you should see sometime this summer in the intergovernmental agreement the legislature, of course, is still in their final phases now. I seem to get email alerts every day about wanting me to go in and fill out a witness slip, either pro or con on different areas. I've gone through the items that have been given you in the board packets and eliminated some of them, updated some of those. Not super worried about any of them just yet. The ones that are still of most concern to us would be the changes to tenure laws. Those have a direct impact on what we can do as far as giving teachers the opportunity to get proficient in what we prepare to them for the next 37 years. Questions?
I just have a question on the last topic. That school resource officer, where is that determination for his or her salary made? Is that by neighboring school districts who also have someone in that position and we're kind of using that as a comp, or?
The village is looking at what it costs to buy an officer these days, a full-time police officer. So that's the number they're looking at.
Okay.
And of course, we're buying the vast majority of that time because they've been dedicated here on all those school days.
Okay,
If they're not here, they'd be working for the village.
right.
Is that something like we're doing, or we're still pursuing, putting it together, or?
We are working on the agreement. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't finalized it yet. We haven't finalized any of it yet, but that's the direction we're kind of working on the framework. To both village and board square with that. We are anticipating that will happen. Hopefully.
Do we know, like, if the Cary Junior High, or any of the District 26 schools have one? I'm just
I haven't
curious.
asked on
Okay.
about that.
Okay,
They do, they have a resource officer.
Carrie does.
okay.
And they
Does that-
won't-
The same with the Hannah and all those in the 47 district.
They're having the conversation now. High school has them.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
the high school
high
has
school
to do that.
I just was thinking, like, in terms of head count and size of school and, comparable population.
I don't, and they all, their schools are not a small village, it has its own police department. I don't know, I'm surprised that we can't come to any type of an agreement that is something less than having a full-time person here. I've said it years ago when we talked about this, and I just said it last month too, that, I mean, we live in a small village, we have our own police department, we have two if you count Oakwood Hills. I don't know, rather than take on that expense, the majority of the people in this village are in this area during the day. It's like even if, the police officers had some type of a rotation where they spent an hour or two a day here, and Oakwood Hills spent an hour or two a day just being here in their squad car, and those hours change, you would significantly reduce, you'd have more of a presence here without having that full-time person. I don't know enough about a school resource officer. I know it's different than hiring security, because that worked out very well, but I don't know, that's just my opinion. We talked about it years ago, we didn't go anywhere with that. I guess I don't know what's changed. It's just one opinion.
It's still in draft mode. It has nothing been finalized yet. We have nothing for you to vote on yet, so we're still in discussion.
If we were, if we didn't have a police department, we were just relying on the sheriff's department, well, that makes sense because they have such a wide reach.
My last conversation with the chief of police, they currently have 8 total officers in Prairie Grove, 2 full-time, 6 part-time. 1 full-time during the day, 1 full-time overnight shift. The other 6 take up part-time shifts and random shifts to pick it up. So at this point in time, they don't feel like they have the resources and manpower to put somebody here on a regular basis.
There's only one full-time.
There's only 1 person on it.
I know this is gonna sound like a funny question, but I'm picturing the map in my head. This school is in Prairie Grove.
Correct.
So the line goes right around, I think it covers that little corner too, right? Because the zoning map that I'm picturing in my head that's up on their wall, thought 176 was always the line, but it goes around the school. Of the village.
I did not believe so.
It goes up to the power lines?
Yes.
Are you in Crystal Lake or Prairie Grove?
Crystal
Crystal Lake.
Unincorporated,
It
we're
is
not
not-
the,
So
They're
you're
gonna annex
Yeah,
that new
we're
neighborhood,
sharing.
but they're not, there's
So,
Look at if you can go online, look at the zoning map, it's, I'm telling you, it's right around the school.
right,
Because we
If
touch
if it's in
Oakwood
it,
Hills,
yeah, okay.
but the district itself, the property of ours is not in Oakwood Hills, so they don't have jurisdiction. That'd be another intergovernmental agreement with Oakwood Hills.
Okay, that's what I was getting at, was we are in the village, so that is the police department, correct, school. Okay. Yeah, 'cause I know it's real close.
and we don't think that like a 0.5, like we're saying full day, but do you think like a 0.5 would even be like is not sufficient, either it's the whole day or it's,
I think that's open for discussion still. I'm opposed to having that further conversation with the chief.
But by the time you have somebody here to help with drop off, pick up, and then throughout the day, that's getting close to full day, right?
then what do they do between the two?
They're monitoring the technology. We're upgrading some video surveillance, so they'll be monitoring video surveillance. They'll do things inside.
Bus drop off and parent drop off 4 times a day. Okay,
That's
so
the easy.
there's the morning, there's a double shift in the middle of the day, there's a shift in the afternoon. So, speed lights in front of the building go on 4 times a day. To slow traffic down, but people don't always follow that. So that's the area where we're hoping to get some additional help with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see the numbers, that's, you know, and then kind of go from there.
How does that like impact the budget, like when we have a new position or a new salary to give? Like, are we like time for next year's budget?
Yeah, we're currently in the middle of making next year's budget now. So we haven't finalized anything yet, so it's still open. So we haven't finalized that kind of personnel item yet. We have a fake number.
I guess it really comes down to the actual person too. I mean, you can have the right person and really add a lot of value.
Absolutely.
Everybody likes having around. I mean, go the other way.
Will you be able to participate in the interview
Hope so.
process? Okay.
Better.
Well, I mean, there's one thing about being a police officer, but being a resource officer and
Well, I think
being able to
that's
do a
why I said-
K-5 versus a,
Yeah, they're looking
Not
at
club.
somebody who's in that, hopefully has that background to some degree already.
That's why it's a resource officer position, not a security
Security guard,
position.
yeah.
Any questions?
They would have this one car here, the
Yes. Lock the car. Summer projects are getting ready to kick off into high gear. We've done some work already prior to the end of the school year. Did some brickwork out from an elementary gym. We're gearing up now for the asbestos abatement that will start June 2nd. As soon as school is out. We'll be full force with the renovation projects. You'll see some more changes in as the finance tracking continues on through June and July. You'll see those numbers come and go. The numbers in and out, just been preliminary work that been done, items that have been bought and stored, anticipation of the work being done. And the other item that I have in mind is I know we've talked about as a board, in discussions with ourselves and with our teaching staff about compensation. And as everyone knows, the inflation rates have drastically impacted things. We're in the middle of a long-term contract with our association. When we learned that a couple years ago, we felt very good about that contract. That it was adequate at the time. This is pre all the crazy inflation numbers. Since that time, we've struggled to keep up with other districts that have now redone their contracts with inflation rates. And so I just want to make sure the full board is where we did have conversations with our teachers group about modifying some of the areas we compensate staff. In particular, we've been struggling with new hires and the folks who are coming fresh out of college. In years past, we've been posting opening for a random 3rd grade job and get 200 applicants. Well, that has started to dwindle over the years now. It went from 240, still, usually about 35 good folks in there. And now when we post the job, we get maybe 10 applicants. And last year, this year, we made a hard push going to Northern, going to ISU, going to Eastern job fairs. I think the largest pool we have is 20. And while we were able to hire quality people, we did not yet fill all our spots for next year. And the number one thing that comes up to us is, well, your compensations are way too low. Your salary schedule and how it's structured is not quite adequate to meet the comparison that we have in the area. We look at our comps, we look at the county. We look just over in Lake County with, we don't go too far, we go to Wakanda because they're pretty close to us. We go a little bit north of us, we go south. It's really a challenge right now. Many districts have regarding their contracts. We're at, I won't say a huge bind, but it's getting more and more challenging. We have some hard to fill positions. So we did approach our PGTA about some ways to offset that. We made an offer to them to talk about signing bonuses for new hires. Talked about some milestone stipends for current staff. We want to make sure our current staff stay relevant and stay happy as well. Unfortunately, that did not get accepted by the PGTA. So right now we do not have an agreement within our current contract, and that's what we're using to move forward to try to fill the rest of our spots. Thank you, Lynn and Steve, for coming into this morning meetings and questioning a couple of those. Thank you very much for that. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a strike deal PGTA on that. So it's unfortunate. Any questions from the board about it? Comments from Steve Lynn? You want to add?
No, I mean, we tried. It's unfortunate. We don't really want to go down this long bargaining road again. So we tried to kind of streamline it. There's really, it's just 100% giving. There's really nothing that, the board really asking for in return, but it didn't work out. So we're going to put some real work into the salary schedule in a few years when the contract is up.
Correct.
They were more just worried about the people here, I mean, I'm assuming, just like when they were with negotiation. That's why the MOU did that.
I can't get into the rationale that other than we made what we thought was a nice offer.
But we don't, we
They
were,
were in the meeting.
yeah, so we,
So there's no other planned or expected communications between the,
Like, can you, like, maybe,
I suppose PGTA could give us a counter offer on the terms of the MOU, but so far that hasn't happened.
and no express interest to.
Have everything.
so we worked with them, you guys representing the board, worked with them and you, and we kind of came up with this package, we offered it, and they said no. And they haven't made a counter, is
their
that?
members did not.
Their members didn't approve it. And so how much was this package? Approximately.
From initial calculations, about 140,000.
And it's $140,000 giving and asking for nothing. And so no. And I looked at it and it offers a lot of different people, a lot of different things, because looking at them, signing bonuses for new hires, signing bonuses for, even like referral bonuses, if you find someone to apply, someone to review or to accept, you get money, milestone bonuses. It values both and tries to address an issue that we have. I mean, how many people during how many spots open did we have over the last, for this school, like next school year, like approximately how many jobs we're looking to fill? Like, I mean, we filled some, but how many, is it like 10 jobs that we looked, or 20 jobs that we're looking to fill?
You look at all encompassing number from teachers, support staff, closer to 20.
20. And of that, like offers that we made, how many people said, no, thank you, we're going somewhere else because of the salary? Like your first offer that you made and they rejected you? If we don't know, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and look. I don't
Yeah.
have
I
that.
I don't know if it's that important. I think as from a board level, we were trying to give the administration the tools
Right.
to hire the best people and also have something in place to retain the teachers that are currently here. Because obviously the quality of the district is all about the people that work here. So we put this MOU in front. It didn't work out. I don't know that there'll be something different. I mean, we could think about it some more, but if not, we just are gonna have to stick with what we have until it's time to bargain. That's all. I mean, we don't wanna get too, we don't wanna keep going back and forth with the MOU because then it turns into.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's time and effort too.
And we're not asking for anything, so there really is no bargain.
Well, there wasn't a counter presented.
And there's not a
No
counter.
count.
At this time, maybe, I mean,
Then
the door could be, still open, if somebody wants, if they wanna.
have we had teachers leave because of compensation that are here? Like, we've had teachers leave because of our current compensation. And,
But you're gonna have that no matter what.
right,
No matter- Not just here, I mean.
no, right, and we can't
anywhere,
compete with a
any-
unit district. Like, if they go to some other unit district, there's a different salary schedule there, we're not a unit district, we're a K-8 district, and so that has to be understood. And
It's a employee market at this point in time with, there's so many jobs, there are more jobs out there than there are people applying for jobs. So if you have the skill set, you can pick and choose where you want to go and choose the money that you want. And that's the reality of it right now. So it doesn't matter if you're in your first year, 24th year, if there's a spot out there that you want to drive to and get to, you can get a job. Because people are looking for people right now. We are actively looking, we have openings right now, everybody does. So, yeah. Just the way it is this morning.
I don't know if there's much more we could get into on it, just wanted to notify
yeah, well, thank you for
the rest
trying.
of you.
Thank you.
Any other items? Okay. New business, may I have a motion to approve bills payable, treasurer's report 2022 to 2023, final school calendar, and Illinois Association of School Boards renewal.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Roll call vote?
Stephanie Housh,
Yes.
Jennifer Regolick,
Yes.
Steve Sebastian,
Yes.
Josie Shattuck,
Yes.
Gwen Bielek,
Yes.
David Costa,
Yes.
Shelley Shaw.
Yes.
Motion carried.
May I have a motion to approve resolution 2023-07, authorizing a public notice for the FY23 amended budget?
So moved.
Or discussion? This is just to publicize it, right?
Correct. This is the second year in a row we've had to amend our budget. So last year we had the bond sale in the middle of the year, which we had to account for the budget. In the memo, I put several things out there for you before that we had new collective bargaining agreement that we approved after the budget was set. That did cause us to move over some budget items, so we had to move some money around to take care of that. Obviously, with interest rates a lot higher than we expected, we do have increased revenue on there. We also received a grant during the year after the budget was approved. And we have the administrative cap cost of 5%, which we didn't have that until after the audit came back. All those things have to be corrected before the budget can be finalized.
Questions?
So to approve the budget, amended budget is the same process that we did in September for the current budget, was to have the resolution, have it on display 30 days, have a hearing before the next board meeting, and have a vote to approve the budget.
No questions? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Jennifer Regolick,
Yes.
Steve Sebastian,
Yes.
Josie Shattuck,
Yes.
Gwen Bielek,
Yes.
David Costa,
Yes.
Stephanie Housh,
Yes.
Shelley Shaw.
Yes.
Motion carried.
May I have a motion to approve resolution 2023-08 for the expenditure of funds prior to adoption of the FY24 budget?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
What is, yeah.
So normally, you want to have a budget in place before we start start spending any money and paying bills. We will start the new fiscal year in July. The state hasn't finished their budget work yet, so we really don't have numbers from the states yet. So we don't have a revenue projection. We don't have grant information. So it's really hard for us to have a budget put together for you now for the next fiscal year. So the law states we have to have that in place by the end of the first quarter, which is September 30th. So typically you get a budget from me in July, August, but we've already been paid bills. We had payroll in July. We have board bills to pay in July. So this resolution authorizes us to pay the bills even without having a final budget in place prior to paying the bills.
We've done this, it's
Every
happened every year, yeah.
Okay, any questions, discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Steve Sebastian,
Yes.
Josie Shattuck,
Yes.
Gwen Violet,
Yes.
David Costa,
Yes.
Stephanie Hausch,
Yes.
Jennifer Regolick,
Yes.
Shelley Shaw.
Yes.
Motion carried.
May I have a motion to approve resolution 2023-09 of recognition and appreciation? Dr. Butts.
Yes, so we've started recognizing those folks who have informed us they are retiring. We have 2 staff members who are retiring this year. Jordan Maldonado has been a bus driver for 11 years with us. And Liz Vinn, the second grade teacher, has done 8 years with us. The 2 of them have announced they are retiring at the end of this year. This resolution then will be signed by the board. We'll give it to them personally in the next couple days. And continue to express our appreciation for the work they've done. I'm very fond. Liz is my neighbor. She's a great person, and a lot of kids that come through here that she has seen. And she's a great person. George drives the bus that comes through my neighborhood. So I know these two. Yeah, I kind of know this. So it's kind of a bittersweet. Happy for them to be moving on, and doing things the rest of their life, and also sad to see them leave because they've been vital employees in the district now for many years. We'll miss them. We'll address them.
Roll call vote, please.
Josie Shattuck,
Yes.
Gwen Violet,
Yes.
David Costa,
Yes.
Stephanie Hausch,
Yes.
Jennifer Regolick,
Yes.
Steve Sebastian,
Yes.
Shelley Shaw.
Yes.
Motion carried.
May I have a motion to approve food service contract with Organic Life July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024? Discussion.
This will be our 3rd renewal of Organic Life. So that the middle of the pandemic with us law allows 4 renewal periods before you have to go back out to bid. We have been pleased with the overall performance and food quality from Organic Life. It's a 3% increase, which is the maximum allowable in the contract. They gave me 3 without special decree from USDA, which we do not have at this point in time. So it's a 3% increase in their cost. We've already approved the student rates for next year. We approved that a couple months ago. So that just has, you see there have no bearing. That's the reimbursement rate they get from the feds, from USDA. It's an increase of 3%.
Any questions?
Did they reconcile, there was some financial dispute,
Yeah.
did that get reconciled?
100% reconcile.
Okay.
You're 100% correct.
That's all.
Yes.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Gwen Violet,
Yes.
David Costa,
Yes.
Stephanie Hausch,
Yes.
Jennifer Regolick,
Yes.
Steve Sebastian,
Yes.
Josie Shattuck,
Yes.
Shelley Shaw.
Yes.
Motion carried.
May I have a motion to approve the agreement with Sage YMCA for before and after school service for the 2023-2024 school year? Discussion?
So we've had YMCA for ET for a number of years. The agreement is the exact same as it has been for a number of years, with one exception. This past year, they did offer employees a 50% discount. They incorporated that language into the agreement this year. So that's a nice little perk for staff members that open their business with.
Yay. Good. All staff knows that's a good.
Correct.
Good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve a solar purchase power agreement with Eco Energy Development LLC?
Second.
Discussion.
So several months ago, we had Kyle long. Here at a board meeting, made a presentation about the proposed solar farm. I'll call it a farm for now. The solar array near our property will go out in the field directly behind me. The intent is that ground solar array would then provide up to 90% of our electrical needs over the course of a year. So this is the purchase power agreement. It's one of the steps that we had to go through in order to get that online. So they had their work done over the winter time. They surveyed the field. It is acceptable. We have the connectivity points. We have a PPA agreement in place. It is the terms that we talked about before. So we have a nice lower rate. We're also going to save them money over the next 25 years on this lease agreement. So we have two actions: one for the PPA itself, and then two for the actual lease agreement for the lease to lease the land to them, put the solar array on there. Again, so the cost to the board is zero. They fund the project, they build it, they maintain it, we get the benefit of it. They're going to keep some of the PPA money, we get the rest of it. We still have interconnectivity to ComEd, so if the sun's not shining, we don't lose power. And now, obviously, if there's a natural disaster and something happens and there's no power, well, there's no power either. So that's just the way it goes. We're not going to be storing any energy here. There may not be big battery complexes on site, but anything that we do produce in those sunny days comes back as a credit on our bills. The winter time there's not much.
So the numbers that I see in this agreement match what initially the target was before their survey.
Correct.
What is the timeline on that being finalized, assuming we approve everything tonight?
I don't know that answer.
There's a clause there that says they have to have it done probably in 12 months. I think.
Yeah, I can't tell you when it's going to happen in that. We need to, the farmer's going to farm the field, so we're going to let them farm again because they've already prepped it and done some work there. So we're not going to just take out the crops.
Okay.
We're going for that the harvest to go.
Are they able to put their undergrounding without damaging any like the track or anything?
That's the plan.
They know what they're gonna.
They've got the plot. They know exactly where it's supposed to go and where that big box is.
They know there's something field under there.
They had to.
Surprise.
Yeah, that's not new.
And refresh my memory, there is a fence around it.
Correct.
And that's
Yes. You'll have some security on it, yes.
a video camera.
Barbed
Will be.
wire or something.
Wire.
I don't know.
I don't know if I've barbed wire or
Barbed
not, but
wire.
we'll get all of the fence too.
Is this, I know we're just, do we have to ask the village or anything like that about this? Or is that fine, it's our property, we can do whatever we want to do with it? I don't know, I just feel like there was some other area, like, how did Woodstock people up in yours about a solar farm coming in? I don't know.
This is not going to be, the answer is yes, we will still apply for the building permit, just like we would normally do for our construction zone. We have a building permit for that. We'll apply to the RV building permit. We'll have the village will get to review everything. But it's not going to take up the entire field. This is smaller plants, like a 700 kilowatt. It's less than what we need for the whole place. It's not going to be something that's going to take the whole field. We're not going to. It's going to be too ugly.
I just don't want,
It's expandable.
I just don't want anybody to put a wrench in it, but we'll go. They probably
Well,
know it.
this is very correct. Assuming you agree to the PPA.
Oh,
list.
any other questions? Dave, did you have a question?
No, I was just gonna say, we're not putting a farm in, we're putting a solar system in for our school.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, and there is permits and approval section 2.B in here, to where they're required to get all of the permits.
It's in the backyard. Okay, well, and if there's no more questions, then let's have a roll call vote, please.
Stephanie Hausch,
Yes.
Jennifer Rugole,
Yes.
Steve Sebastian,
Yes.
Josie Shattuck,
Yes.
Gwen Bilek,
Yes.
David Costa,
Yes.
Michelle Shaw,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve a land lease agreement with Echo and Under, it's not Echo, Econo Energy. Development LLC.
So
Second.
Discussion? We know.
For the land use that,
Yes.
yeah.
To use the land lease.
Have access to it.
Seeing no discussion, roll call vote please.
Jennifer Regoli,
yes.
Steve Sebastian,
Yes.
Josie Chadwick,
Yes.
Gwen Violet,
Yes.
David Costa,
Yes.
Stephanie House,
Yes.
Michelle Shaw,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, may I have a motion to go into executive session at 8:16 PM for the consideration of matters related to the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, and hearing testimony on the complaint lodged against an employee.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we will be entering closed session. We typically do it in this room. The only thing, we have one agenda item afterwards, and it's, for an MOU, like, for post-retirement, and then closer. Do you wanna hang out in the lobby or home? Thank you for attending.
That's what I was coming to do. Sorry about
And that, oh,
I